or quick of our Torah. And one of the aspects in this week's parsha, it says you will love the stranger in your midst because you yourselves were strangers in Egypt. Sort of taking a lesson from what happened to us in Egypt and applying it, that it should be something within our society. But the term used for stranger here is ger, a ger toshav, somebody who wants to live in the land of Israel under our rule, but accepts societal norms. He doesn't want to change our society. There's another term for stranger in the Torah that we use, which is nochri, which is a totally different, that's somebody who does not accept our societal norms. That person is a different kettle of fish. The Torah is making a clear distinction. If you want to live in this area, you have to accept what we consider to be normal to our society. You can't be a threat to our society. You're not allowed to try to change it. I sort of put this in perspective when my mother, you remember she came here as a refugee from Europe, and her parents sent her to an English-speaking school. There were German-speaking schools in New York in the early 40s when my mother arrived. My grandfather said, "No, you don't go there. You go to a place where you speak English." And when she went to high school, again, it was an English-speaking school that would train her and my aunt to be secretaries, but again, in English. And his reasoning was simple. It was not complex. You're in America now. The language of business in America is English. You don't expect them to bend to meet you. You have to bend to meet them. And such as this, you're not changing the system. You're not changing society. And that's an important factor. Yes, we should love the stranger. But there's a two-way street. The stranger also has to be willing to accept our social norms. There's a whole debate in Avodah Zarah, in a tractate in the Talmud, whether, what does this mean? Why the difference between a ger toshav and a nochri? And according to the majority opinion, a ger toshav, somebody who doesn't want to be Jewish but wants to live in the land of Israel, has to accept the 7 mitzvot of Bnei Noah, the 7 mitzvot of Noah. In other words, he has to understand where the society is coming from. Because when you have people in your society who don't accept your social norms, you end up with anarchy. You end up with a disaster. New York City, some would say. But, you have people who would come here and say, okay, I disagree with this, capitalism, I disagree with the Constitution. It doesn't work. You have to agree that this is the law of the land. So too, the Torah is pointing out, a non-Jew living in the land of Israel has to accept the fact that the Torah is our Constitution. He doesn't have to be Jewish, but he does have to accept it. So it's an important distinction that the Torah makes. Because when we were in Egypt, we were not there to overthrow the Egyptian society. We were there, because of a famine, living in Goshen. We didn't want to change Egyptian society. We only brought it down when they mistreated us. So the Torah is saying, if somebody comes, doesn't want to change society, he's just a stranger, treat him with loving kindness. Something to think about.